What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today to talk a little Panini release schedule. This actually was circulating around the old interwebs last week. Late last week, I saw it on Twitter. Didn't get a chance to talk about it anywhere, just due to, Sunday video. Wanted to talk the Golden thing, the BGS stuff come out, just a bunch of other nonsense coming out. And it wasn't super time sensitive, so here we sit today. Sorry if it's a little blurry. I zoomed in to make it a little bit bigger, but as we're all well aware, release dates are absolutely just shot right now. And to be fair, let me be fair. This is not exclusive to Panini. Upper Deck is way behind on hockey and is also months behind on Marvel releases. Spider-Man Metal was supposed to come out at like Christmas time. It is late May, and we might have it end of June, and that is no sure thing. So they're like 6 months behind, I believe. And please, commenters below, I don't follow hockey stuff very well, but I think they are almost a year behind on some hockey stuff. And Panini is basically 7 months behind most of their major releases, as we'll kind of talk about here in a second. So we're going to run down, we're going to focus on basketball and football. Panini baseball product, I don't care about. The unlicensed stuff is meh. The college stuff, soccer, I don't understand. And then the other nonsense, racing, UFC, and WWE, I don't really care about. So we're just going to focus on football and basketball here. But my question is, we are so late in the process that it has just mucked everything up. And I the card market was going to come down because of the general outside world things. But I'm very curious for your thoughts and comments on how you think the fact that we just got NT football. If you look at the list here, we are not getting Prism football until June 3rd. So we're about a week away from Prism football, and that's assuming it does not get pushed again. We're in the middle of summer now. Like it'll be rookie mini camps and players reporting for mandatory OTAs pretty soon here, and we're just now getting Prism football of last year's guys. We know everything about these guys. Could you imagine? I mean, not everything, but we have a good sample size now. Could you imagine? Trevor Lawrence was super hyped coming into the season. He obviously drastically underperformed. How is that going to affect his values? I bet you he's not the most expensive quarterback. If you're just looking at silver prisms, I don't think Lawrence will be the most expensive. I think he might be second or third, just depending. I think Zach Wilson might actually be the most expensive. People might look at me sideways, but Wilson's getting a lot of hype out there. I'll be curious to see how that shakes out. Jamar Chase might be the number one priced silver prism for all I know. We're in unprecedented territory right now, but I'm curious, do you guys and girls think that this has affected the overall market in terms of interest? We didn't have the hot rookies to chase at all. In basketball or football, because this product is so late. Like I said, we just got NT football. We're just now getting into the decent basketball stuff. You look at this schedule, Prism basketball is not scheduled to come out till June 22nd, and who knows if they'll keep that date. June 22nd is like the NBA draft. We're going to be watching next year's lottery picks get assigned to teams while we're ripping last year's Prism. Prism basketball usually comes out at Thanksgiving. They're like 7 months behind on Prism basketball. It's insane. So it's going to be really, really interesting, like for the purposes of this stuff coming out and breaks and people chasing singles and the weird timing of this and the fact that we have so much information. The only blessing is that the fact that this stuff got so delayed is that the grading companies have gotten their act together for the most part. And ripping and sending in to grade is actually going to be a viable strategy. Beckett opened up economy service earlier this week. I don't personally think it makes a ton of sense. PSA has a $50 level anytime you want it if you're a member. And we all know that's going to get cheaper pretty soon here. SGC is sitting at $30 a card and turning stuff around in about 2 to 3 weeks. So that's a very viable option. And then you got CSG as the new kid on the block. So raw to grade is 1,000% a play again. You got to pick the right tool for the job depending on what you open up. Maybe if you get a bunch of base rookies, You send those off to CSG bulk at 12 to 14 bucks a card or whatever it is. If you hit some bangers, maybe you send those off to PSA. And then if there's something in the middle, maybe you SGC it, just kind of depending on what it is. But that is now in play, so that's kind of nice. By the time this Prism product hits, I have a feeling we'll be getting a PSA price decrease shortly after. Maybe they're even, wouldn't surprise me if they were holding off till this first wave of Prism comes out, both of football and basketball. And if those dates actually hold, that feels pretty close coming out together. I don't know what the normal spread is between Prism football and Prism basketball, but this is just going to be a couple weeks apart. And to me, the real crazy thing is how the hell do they get back on track? You look at this, and let's look at basketball, for example. We get Prism basketball June 23rd, and then Mosaic basketball and Fast Break basketball are to be determined. And then that's not even counting Optic and Select. Like, are we going to be in season when we get Optic and Select from last year? Usually Flawless is the one that pushes the edge, not Optic and Select. That's not even on the schedule. And this goes out to July. It might be after the National before we get Optic and Select basketball. Football, we have Prism football pretty quick, then Flawless, Contenders Optic, and then Optic football and Select football are TBD. We might be getting those around the National. I mean, you're going to be ripping last year's Optic and Select football during the Hall of Fame game, maybe, or at the National, or during week 1 of the preseason. It's wild. But like I said, how they are so far off cycle, I don't know how they get back on track. I really don't. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they just straight up don't care. But hopefully, I'll give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. The world's been a pretty crappy place the last 2 years with everything that's been going on. But I'm hoping now, like, maybe they were so pot committed to this release schedule because of the order of operations and the workflow and all that. I'm sure it's a big convoluted mess. And I'm sure they sit around a conference room table trying to figure this stuff out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. I'm hoping for next year they can rearrange some product schedules and get things back flowing generally in the right direction. If you got to move some junky product to the back of the line, please do it. It would be so nice to have Prism basketball. And say what you want. I know a lot of people hate Prism, love it, hate it, whatever. It's their flagship product. It's the thing that drives a lot of the market. It would be very nice to have that, so you can actually speculate on rookies in season instead of getting them way after the season. But it's just got to be a mess for them to try to get this back on track. And I really think they need to do it because they're just going to keep getting further and further behind. Any other delays on anything, and it just keeps pushing further and further out. In a perfect world, we know they'll never do this because they're going to print everything into the ground to try to max every dollar they can out of the system, most likely. They would cut product lines. You would just whack some of this stuff that nobody cares about. I mean, this late in the cycle, these are all products that people do legitimately care about. But some of the Chronicles stuff and things that they pulled out of Chronicles to make their own sets, Flux, for example, stuff like that, that stuff should be whacked. You need to be getting the tentpole releases out on time. And they're just not doing that right now. And I think it is having a little bit of a trickle-down effect on the market. Like I said, I've mentioned this in a ton of different videos before. The sports card market is an ecosystem. If you mess one thing up, it has effects on the rest of the ecosystem. The grading company shut down. Raw to grade came out of play. That's a way a lot of people made money to then put that money back into the hobby again. Release schedules are so screwed up, we don't have decent product to either rip, which is not smart, at least breaks anyway, or just buying a box. But you don't have the singles to chase. If you have a good eye, go out, hit the card show when this stuff first comes out, hit eBay, whatever, get these cards in hand, evaluate them. Maybe you pick some good ones, send them off, and you can get 10s on it. That is a very easy way to make profit in the hobby. We really haven't had that because there hasn't been decent product out to send in the grade basically these whole seasons. So Hopefully they could get this stuff fixed. Very curious for your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know what you think. How do they get back online? Do you think this is having some negative effects on the market? Not saying it's the main driver, but at least a little bit. It's had to take a little bit of the excitement out of the game that you don't have these players to chase in their tentpole rookie cards. So let me know in the comments down below. We'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.